Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Pundit identifies 10 ways the Ripple and Mastercard partnership is good for XRP. Okay guys, let's get into it. Okay, so as you guys are already aware by now, it is official that Ripple have announced that they have a Mastercard partnership. And for me, this is really great to see, to be honest with you, because lately I've been doing so much content where I've been like debunking some of the unrealistic stuff, that it's just nice to see some good stuff happening where I can actually report some positive things going on. So this is definitely a welcomed piece of news for me personally, and I'm sure you guys are all happy too. And so for me, for the most part here, I'll give you the positives here, because for the most part this is positive. I will give you just the one little side thing, but it's not a big deal. For the most part, this is positive. So I'm not gonna rain on the parade of this at all. This is really great to see. So we've got here a pundit who's actually spoke of 10 ways that this is actually good for Ripple and XRP. I'm going to go through this because I've read the points and I agree with them. So we'll go through these 10 points and then I'll just give you my overall thoughts on the partnership. Okay, so the pundit in question is XRP Investor, someone who's on X, not someone who I personally really follow, but these points are very great points here. So we've got 10 points as to why this is a good thing for XRP. So first, the pundit noted that the partnership directly boosts XRPL adoption by connecting it to real-world finance. As Ripple uses XRPL to process Mastercard settlements, the firm shows how blockchain technology can operate in practical, everyday financial systems rather than remaining a niche experiment. Absolutely agree. So obviously the choice of what they've done this on is the XRP ledger, which obviously makes sense because they're going to be trying to get adoption for the XRP ledger. Obviously I know they've got stablecoins on Ethereum as well, but why are they going to put all that volume on Ethereum? Obviously they're not going to do that because they hold the escrow of XRP. So obviously this is a huge thing for adoption. So no argument there. Absolutely agree with that. Second, XRP Investing believes the collaboration also strengthens Ripple's credibility. Working with established financial leaders like Mastercard and WebBank indicates that Ripple's technology meets the standards of major global institutions and can integrate with traditional banking. Yeah, absolutely. This is the thing. I think when you start to look at not just Ripple, but XRP, right? Like when they start to say, oh, okay, so this is successfully being piloted, and let's just say Mastercard do go ahead and start to utilize the XRP ledger on a more permanent basis. One, that adds to the credibility of XRP, because obviously they'll say like, oh, okay, so this is what XRP can handle. Then it can handle the volume of Mastercard transactions, and they've been happy to do this. So that's a huge institution right there. So of course, other companies will look at that and think, okay, well, if you can handle that kind of volume, maybe it can handle that kind of volume of what we want to do, that kind of thing, right? Obviously, it just continues to add to the reputation of XRP and puts it up there as basically like a financial instrument, right? Something that can be used for financial purposes. Obviously, it's good for Ripple as well because it makes Ripple look better. And this is the thing as well. To me, while I will say this, Ripple are not just obviously about XRP, they've admitted that themselves, but they are the holders of the escrow. So we all think of Ripple and XRP synonymous, right? It's just, they're tied together, right? That's just what it is. So unless they completely just move away from XRP, people are always going to look at Ripple and then look at XRP too. That's just, people call, Ripple, they call it like Ripple XRP, right? When really it's not Ripple XRP. XRP is the token by itself, but because Ripple obviously have so much of the escrow, they just connect Ripple to it. So I do think it's going to add to the credibility of Ripple, and by default that will also add on to XRP too, because the fact that it's handling such big volume with a big financial institution, it's going to obviously attract other people, and it's just going to make them believe that it's a valuable asset, right? So that's where it's going to help in terms of the price aspect, right? The more that they think this is something that's a valuable asset that big financial institutions are using, the more they're going to be confident to want to get involved and think, well, it seems that this is an asset that's going to inevitably grow over time in value, right? Like, this is what they do with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just a store of value. They just believe it's going to go up over time. But with XRP, if you've got like these fundamentals that are obviously showing you, there's people using it and companies and institutions using it and finding, actual purpose in the token, then yeah, they're going to deem it a valuable asset. The pundit noted for his third point that the partnership will likely drive higher transaction activity on XRPL. When Mastercard and WebBank move payments using RLUSD, the number of on-chain transactions could spike, giving XRP greater utility. Yeah, absolutely. So obviously this is just giving XRP one more purpose, like a new thing of utility, a new thing to drive volume to the XRP ledger, of course, because it's now handling Mastercard's transaction volume through the credit cards, right? So obviously, at the moment, I believe with the pilot, they're just starting off with Gemini, the Gemini credit card. But look, this is a pilot, so if this goes well, I think they'll look at it and say, yeah, we'll continue to do this, of course. Like, this is what you got to understand, right? They are doing pilots, and that's completely understandable. Like, if you're going to jump into a whole new technology and put your whole business model behind it, of course you're not just going to jump in head first. Of course you're going to like test it out and trial it first. But we know what this technology can do. We know what the XRP ledger can do. So I've got no worry in terms of, is this going to fail? Like, I think the pilot will be successful. And so in that regard, I think inevitably Mastercard will continue to work with XRP. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but I see no reason why this would go wrong in my personal opinion. And so to me, I think it's kind of inevitable that ultimately, this will be something that continue to be utilized. Now, let me just make it clear. That's my speculation. I don't want to be like, just pushing hype, but to me, I just don't see where there'll be a problem here in that regard. So I think most likely this is something that could continue to grow, but we'll see. For his fourth point, he explained that the growing use of RLUSD, which recently surpassed 1 billion in circulation, will further increase demand for XRP. Well, yeah, because, the more RLUSD is being used via the XRP ledger, of course, because there's RLUSD on Ethereum as well, the more it's obviously just, it's more just utility in terms of XRP, because XRP is being utilized as the gas token, and it's just more volume on the XRP ledger. So, yeah, there's nothing really more to argue with that. That's a great point. Meanwhile, according to XRP Investing's fifth point, Ripple achieved a major regulatory win through this partnership. Specifically, Ripple will be creating a blockchain-based payment model that works within the framework of US financial rules. Well, look, this is where, I look at the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit, right? Like, thankfully, we won that because, again, like, let's just say we had have lost that lawsuit. It's very possible, or even let's just say likely, that this partnership wouldn't even have happened. So like, in terms of them being within the US framework, yeah, I agree. But I think they've always been within the US framework, right? Like, I think they've always been trying to abide by the rules. Like, I acknowledge that Ripple, made a mistake in terms of, selling the securities, but I think it was a mistake. I don't think they were just purposely, trying to evade the law or anything like that, because if that was the case, they wouldn't have kept going to the SEC in the first place saying, hey, is this okay? Is what we're doing okay? Is this right? Are we going by the right laws? They wouldn't have done that, right? So for me, I think they've always been trying to do things by the book, and it makes sense because when you look at how big Ripple are now, like, if they start doing shady things, it's gonna mess up their business, right? So like, I don't think these are risks that they really want to take. And we've seen what happened with the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. And if you ask me, like, don't get me wrong, there was some little bit of wrongdoing now on Ripple's part, but the lawsuit was bogus for the most part. They were making up real wild things, and if you ask me, it really was to try and destroy Ripple and XRP. That's my personal opinion. And guys, you know me, like, I'm not a conspiracy theory guy, like, unless there's evidence, but we saw ETHgate, so we know the deal with that. So yeah, I do agree with that in regards to the financial framework, but they've always been doing that. So yeah, that's a great point, but I think that was something that was already happening, to be honest. Okay, so his sixth point argues that the collaboration bridges traditional finance systems and decentralized systems, with this development bolstering XRP's reach. Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is where we're starting to see TradFi meets DeFi. Like, this is exactly what we've been anticipating, right? This is what people have been waiting for, is that, you know, crypto gets big enough where it is starting to merge now into the traditional sector, the traditional financial sector. And this is where we'll start to see what cryptos are going to last for the long haul, right? Because the ones that have actually got these types of partnerships and are actually like merging with traditional finance, those are the ones that are going to have the staying power, right? Those are the ones that are going to have the longevity, because at the end of the day, these meme coins that are just there for hype, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, you'll get gamblers because you've got people who go to casinos and gamble. So you'll always have people who are willing to, you know, put a bit of money on a meme coin, but they won't have longevity because people won't want to keep investing in just stuff like that. Or they'll still have its own little place, but I don't think it will be as big. Or the regulations that they put in will maybe not allow meme coins to exist, right? It might be a thing where those types of things like meme coins are just not really, you know, going to be within the regulatory appetite to be able to operate. So I just think in some way, shape or form, like meme coins, like they won't have the same kind of hype that they do right now. And I think that's as like crypto start to get a bit more evolved, and that's where we see like, okay, the networks that have the real staying power now are the ones that you're starting to see get the real value. Because at the moment, the market's all just speculation, right? Like, so everything's just based on just hype, really. Like, you know, that's what it is. But we're getting to the point now where we're seeing this evolve into a real industry, and we're starting to see, you know, where the networks are that are getting the real, you know, partnerships and getting the real adoption. And I think we're getting to that point now where it's the utility aspect, right? Where that's going to be what really starts to stand out and what really starts to gain value. It's not going to just be, you know, there's all these crypto coins and all of them are just going radically up in value just because, right? Like, I think that will still happen for a little while, but eventually that's just going to flatten out, you know, and it will be the actual cryptos that, you know, actually have a purpose that are really getting the value overall. For the 7th point, the pundit added that the new partnership builds on Ripple's earlier successes, such as the Gemini XRP credit card introduced in August. Notably, this launch set the stage for deeper cooperation with major institutions and paved XRP's practical use in payment systems. Okay, so yeah, again, I've not really got much to add to that. It's just another, you know, milestone for Ripple, getting a big partnership with such a big institution, continuing to build on that hype. Yeah, I agree. This is definitely something that's a positive. The 8th point suggests that the news will lift investor confidence and improve market sentiment around XRP. He also claimed that the development could bolster confidence in Ripple's roadmap, as the firm persists with strategic acquisitions and useful partnerships. Yeah, I mean, look, I said it earlier, like, for me, I'm really glad to have seen this, to be honest with you, because, you know, like, I've been covering a lot of stuff on XRP lately, and it's been like obviously debunking stuff, and it just feels like I've not had too much like hugely positive things to say. And, you know, I'm an XRP holder, so I am still, you know, bullish on XRP overall. And this is just something that's kind of gave me that bit of an uplift. And it's nice to do this, right? It's nice to actually be able to just speak positively about XRP overall. So I do agree. Absolutely. This is something that's going to help restore a lot more confidence in XRP's long-term future. In his 9th point, the pundit said the partnership may fuel broader ecosystem growth. He believes Ripple's products, including Ripple Payments, will likely see more adoption. Yeah, once again, like as we were saying earlier, like this will start to give more credibility to Ripple and XRP overall, right? So as people start to see, like, you know, oh, who've got this big partnership with Mastercard? Oh, Ripple. And what's the crypto again? XRP. Okay, cool. So again, this might be people thinking, well, this seems like a big company if they're working with Mastercard, right? Like, what else do Ripple do? Oh, they do custody. Oh, okay, they do clearings. Oh, okay, they've got all these other things going on. Oh, okay, they're actually looking to become their own bank. Oh, wow. Again, it adds to that credibility, as they were saying before, right? Like, this is where people who are, you know, new in the crypto space, if you hear like, yeah, there's this company who are working with Mastercard, it sounds big. It sounds big, and it is. Like, it absolutely is. So, for me, I agree. And again, like if you think, oh, it's XRP's the token that's being used in XRP ledgers, the network that's settling all these transactions. Oh, that sounds like it's a good cryptocurrency. Then maybe I should invest in that. And that's how this works. This is the kind of thing that's going to add to XRP's value overall, because people start to believe that it is a valuable cryptocurrency, right? Because of the things it can do. Meanwhile, his 10th point projects that the partnership could lead to even larger institutional use cases. For context, once Mastercard's pilot proves successful, other global banks and card issuers may adopt the same model. This will likely increase XRP's presence in mainstream finance. Yeah, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree with that. So this is something where, as I said earlier, like think about it just like word of mouth, right? So Mastercard do the partnership, they do the pilot, let's say it's successful. They then decide to say, yep, we're going to use this from here on going forward. Other banks, speak to them and say, hey, how was that whole pilot thing? Oh yeah, it's amazing. We're going to stick with the XRP ledger from here going forward. And they say, okay, yeah, maybe we'll give it a try then. It sounds like it's good. Yeah, absolutely, you should. It's amazing. It's just that word of mouth kind of thing where it just spreads around and it gets more and more adopted because people are hearing positive things. They do say when it comes to marketing, one of the strongest ways to get stuff around is actually word of mouth, right? Over ads and stuff like that. So ads and things like that are good, but obviously you're being force fed it. Right, so you're kind of aware that you're being pushed something. Whereas if you have word of mouth, that's someone giving you like a cosign. So it's stronger, right? Because they're actually saying, hey, I tried this and I thought it was really good. Whereas with an ad, obviously they're going to promote it because they're going to be trying to push the product. So they're going to make it sound big and they're going to make it sound good. But if you've got someone from like a word of mouth, from like a family member or a friend, they're giving you their honest opinion. Right, so word of mouth is one of the strongest ways to, to get like promotion of something. So if this does go well, which I anticipate it will, then yeah, like this could be something that strongly helps with XRP's, reputation and Ripple's reputation and builds more adoption from there going forward and continues to add more institutions getting involved with them. Absolutely. So yeah, I absolutely agree with these 10 points. The only one sidebar I wanted to say, which as I said before, like this isn't like anything to really, downplay it or anything, is obviously they're using RLUSD. Would obviously be better if they was using XRP. But this is the thing that you've got to understand, guys. I said this in a video recently. Stablecoins is just the way things are going, right? Like we've just got to accept that and acknowledge it. So at the end of the day, I would rather they use RLUSD on the XRP ledger than just say, hey, we don't want to use XRP. We just want to use stablecoin. So we'll back off and we could use a different network or something like that, right? Like at the end of the day, if RLUSD is the alternative, it's still going to bring volume to the XRP ledger and XRP is still being utilized as a gas token. So it is still going to bring volume to the XRP ledger and XRP is still going to be utilized as the gas token. So it is still adding to XRP's adoption, overall. So I'll take that over nothing, to be honest with you. But obviously, personally, I would have preferred it to be XRP directly that they used. But this isn't bad. Like, I'm not going to complain with this at all. This is massive. And this could be something that's huge for XRP's, value overall and just long-term prospects. So I'm not here to put any kind of negative spin on this at all. I think this is really great to see. And as I said, it's nice to see something really big coming because, there's been a lot of worry with the whole RLUSD thing. And I do understand it. Like, I'm not trying to take away from it. I'm not saying it's nonsense or anything like that. I think the concerns are actually valid. I do get it. But overall, I don't think, it's not something at this point that I'm going to just worry about too much. And this is the kind of stuff that I think, it's still adding to the XRP ledger's overall value. You know what I mean? So for me, this is a real positive. So I'm really glad to see this and I look forward to seeing what comes off of the back of this. So great news. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.